Hey guys, welcome back to Cheney's TCG Store. I have another market watch for you today. I picked quite a few cards to go over. I will mention before we get in, there's not a whole lot going on with the market. There's like some very niche buyouts here and there, but for the most part, I think the YouTube content creator community has covered pretty much anything like that that's come out recently, just because the market's been pretty boring, other than declines in prices for the most part across the board. But I'm going to cover some cards that you can either pick up now and potentially see them rise when we get some support or new archetypes here in the future, the coming months. And then just some other cards that are pretty low in price right now that you could invest some money into, or if you have them, hold on to them and not trade them. But with that aside, let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing I wanted to cover is Shaddoll Beast. Now, my last market watch, I said that tier limit players were playing, what was it? Shaddoll Squamata at 2 copies, but actually was wrong. It's Shaddoll Beast. I'm pretty sure I looked through a couple of lists and this is what they were playing. Now this card has a couple of holo printings. It's Astral Pack 6 super rare and Battle of Legends Hero's Revenge ultra rare. And then other than that, everything else is just either rare or common. Interesting enough, though, the Shaddoll Showdown Structure Deck version is almost $1 here, but which is weird because like Duelist Alliance, which would have been your original print, has them 50 cents at a rare. Just interesting there. But I think if you were wanting to pick these up for either if you're planning on building tier limits when it comes out, or building the deck when we get support down the line, or just wanting to invest in a card that could potentially see a lot of play and go up in value, I would go with the Astral Pack Super Rare, which is around $3, $2.50 here for light play, but then you still have that $1 shipping, and it only has 17 listings left, and even the Ultra Rare is getting low too at 59. But I think the Super Rare looks a little bit cleaner, and it's definitely older with being Astral Pack 6. But Hero's Revenge ultra rare is not bad either, and it's definitely cheaper. I would just go with what you think you would like. If you're going to play it, just get which one that you like better. But if you're investing, I would probably go with the super rare. But I think either one is fine because these are really old, so there's limited copies on the market for either one. Really, it wouldn't take much for the holos to disappear for either of these versions. But this bottoms out to $10 here, and there's only one page. So that's something I would keep a close eye on here because this is going to go fast. I think 350, 250 here is really not bad. Unfortunately, there's no play sets or anything. But if you wanted to come snatch up these, a buyout could occur with one buyer, really. Looking at the ultra rare, we're going to see where the price is going on that as well. Yeah, I just clicked on the super rare again. I hate when the screen adjusts. Oh, nope, I got it. It's the ultra rare. So $1.25 here for light play, $1.66. And then $1.90 for 2 copies here. And then I think it said there was a place set available for $2.16 a piece. Okay, $2 here for 10 copies. Honestly, you might just want to get like a couple of super rares and maybe like 5 or 6 of these. It's relatively a low risk, high reward. I definitely think these holo versions could be, well, the super rare is looking like it's going to definitely be 10 to 15 plus. In no time, but I think even the ultra rare has potential to be like $5 to $6, maybe $8. But I guess it depends on how popular the deck is, but I think it will be really popular after Darkwing Blast. So I think that most people want to get like 1 or 2 copies of these. Not every deck is going to want to play 2 copies of Shaddoll Beast, but I think for the most part, I think people probably will. Yes, if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can draw 1 card. So it's just a free draw. So obviously, if you send 2, I believe you're only going to get that effect once per turn. So you might want to consider playing this and 1 other card. But if you did draw this, it's not a big deal. You can discard it. I'm assuming that you have written droplets or something else and get the effect off. But yeah, I think this is going to be a great card in tier limits, honestly. But I guess we'll have to see how that deck does over here. I do think in the OCG, like once after this ban list takes effect, which I'm not sure when the effective date is, but I think soon after, especially when we get like when they get Darkwing Blast, which I'm not sure how long that is from now. I'll have to look. Tier limits are going to be really, really good and probably overtake Splites for the most part. Definitely a strong deck. Next is number 4, Stealth Kraken. This is around 75 cents. There's lightly played here, and I actually really like this seller, Picante, and they're out of Texas. 67 cents with 21 listings. Goes up to about $1. But this card is actually really, really good. I do think with like the water support, maybe this is a card that people would want to look at playing in their decks. I'm not for sure though. If you're a water player, let me know if this card's good. But I think in theory, this is a decent card for like water archetypes that can make rank 4s. I guess the problem here is unless it's like a water deck that's focused around making, a lot of rank 4s, if your only option is to make like, let's say 1 rank 4 per turn, you're probably going to go into Bahamut Shark. So that's something you also have to remember with this. And I do believe we have Totally Awesome at 2 or 3. So I think, if they were making 1 rank 4 every turn, they probably would just want to do Bahamut Shark into Toad. But at the same time, a water deck might not be playing multiple Bahamut Sharks and multiple Totally Awesomes. But I mean, they will at least play 1 of each because Totally Awesome is insanely good. But let me know if you're a water player and this card is good. I do think it's good in theory, and do think that it's a pretty good penny stock for under $1 here. Next is Shadal Winda. So going along with the tier limit stuff, this card has recently gone up in price a lot. Back a few weeks, I think I covered it on my market watch that I did with the White Mexican, where every version was pretty much $9 or $10 at least. I think the secret rare was even like up to 14. Let's take a look actually. Surprisingly, I think one of the lowest prices was actually the original, which is kind of crazy to think about. But it was back here, kind of at the end of April towards May. It says $8, $9, but I remember it being above 10. And I think it's cooled off quite a bit now. You're looking at like $5 for a light play, then going up to 6 for an air mint with a play set here. I think this is a great card to get at this time because, again, this doesn't have that many printings. The most accessible is definitely the super rare from the structure deck, which is $2.50 itself. This was also $8 or $9 at the time. Let's see if this reflects it as well. For some reason, like the White Mexican was saying, he personally prefers this artwork. And I know he really likes super rares as well. He likes the secret rare as well too, but he's really not a fan of ultra rares, which is really weird to me. But this version does look okay. I do think that it's a decent copy of it. So this says around $6, $7. So it could have been up to $8, $9, but it just wasn't selling at that price, which certainly can be the case sometimes. But that was due mainly to when the Albaz structure deck had just come out and we got branded fusion and people were playing around with Shadal branded, which was a pretty good strategy. It just was like not the optimized version of branded. The branded Despia strategy was just better. This obviously with Winda is very powerful, being able to lock them out of special summons. This deck has the branded Shadal deck specifically had a problem going second against just the regular branded Despia. But honestly, I have the ultra rare from Duelist Alliance. I have the secret rare from Shadows and Valhalla, and I also have like 4 super rares from Shadal Showdown. I just think it's a great card to keep your eye on. Make sure you have your copies. At the very least, just have a super rare. Next, I just wanted to kind of cover the Legendary Duelist from the Deep booster box and singles, just because the single listings just appeared for pre-sale. But Forbidden Droplets starting off at $50 here. I think, honestly, I'm surprised that they started at this price. But I think it's because they think that this set's going to flop and they just want to go ahead and get these selling, because they could put them on here for 70 and get a few sales, or put them at 50, which is like around $20 cheaper than the secret rare from Brothers of Legend, and just start getting a bunch of sales. I do think that the Forbidden Droplet will probably cool down a little bit to like 38, maybe 35. But I don't think that it'll go too crazy low. Like I think it'll be above 30 for sure. It might hit at like 30, 32 at like, one day and come back up. But for the most part, people are going to want this card. I don't think that you should buy this card though, because we are getting another reprint
and the Mega 10s. So if you are gonna like have to play Forbidden Droplets at this moment in time, your best bet would be to go buy the either original secret rare or buy the ultimate rare, which of course the ultimate rare is really expensive. I understand that being unaffordable, but I think the original secret rare is now like 80, 85. So yeah, it is more expensive, but it's going to drop less. And then you could also just offload those, because as we get closer to those 10s, these are going to start ticking down. And so will Brothers of Legend, and so will the original, but it won't like flop as hard. But looking on Marincess Dive here at $20, I believe this is the ultra rare spell card for Marincess. I do believe it's pretty good. I don't think that it's a $20 card, and neither is Aqua Argonaut. And it can't really maintain these prices unless the deck actually does really, really well. And even if it does, it's not going to maintain these prices because there isn't going to be enough people wanting to play it, in my opinion. I do think that, you know, some people definitely like the Marincess deck. I think it's a cool deck as well, but I don't think it's going to hold these kind of prices. I think if you look at this set overall, I actually think it doesn't score as high to me as Synchro Storm. You might say, well, yeah, Synchro Storm has the $130 card, which is Baronet of Floor. But other than that, there's nothing else in there. But, you know, that's kind of not really true. When you look at when that set was first printed, you had multiple value cards. It's just the ban list came out and really hurt Lyrilisk, which just tanked all the bird cards, which were the ones that had high values in that set besides Baronet of Floor. Because I believe, what was it? The Lyrilisk, I don't think I have it out, but it was a quick play spell card that let you search from your deck and then special summon from your hand. That was going for around 18 to 25, more towards like 25 on release. And the what is the other one? I can't remember. The silver one, the silver bird, that's ultra rare, was also like $6 to $10 on release. I mean, of course, the pre-sales for those cards were much higher. But there were some good cards in there. And then if you look at the top end, you had Baronet of Floor, which if you pulled that, you know, you doubled your, you know, over doubled your box value. Whereas this set, the best you can possibly do is break even with the Droplets. I don't think Droplets is short printed, which is good news. I think a lot of people were pulling them from what I could see on like the, like when the content creators open their boxes, which is always good. But I feel like they have also been opening really well recently with Ghosts from the Past and stuff. So I don't know if they're intentionally getting sent really good product. Who knows? But there'd be no way to tell for like an ultra rare, I would think, unless they, you know, there's some way to tell at the factory. But I don't really think there is. Whereas a ghost rare, I imagine you probably could tell where it would be. But who knows? Maybe not. I could be wrong there. But other than that, those top end cards, there's really not a whole lot of other value in here. I guess there is. So let me put this on high to low, because that'll be a lot better instead of best selling. I'm surprised these cards are selling at this point, honestly. You would think people would know better by now, just wait. Sometimes you can get a good deal if you get in early, like with the adventure package stuff. But for the most part, not really. You have to get really lucky. I would say 1 out of 100 chance to buy something on pre-release and to actually spike in price after the set's released. It does happen. I guess most recently, I'm trying to think which set. I guess if you looked at the pre-sale for Defo, like the day before it released, there was some really good deals that did like spike in price like crazy. But, you know, if you looked like right when all the pre-sales came online, everything was more expensive than it is now. Like $30 plus for each secret rare. I mean, even a Legal Night was pre-selling for 70 when the pre-sales first started. But yeah, so there are some value cards in here for now. But like I said, I don't think this is going to really last. I really think it's a safe bet to just wait for this set to release and then get what you want. I think that this set as a whole will flop, like I said, and probably end up bottoming out to that $38 to $40 range like Synchro Storm. If I was going to pick which one of these to open between this and Synchro Storm, I'm going with Synchro Storm like every time, just because you have Baronet of Floor in there. And also I think that the Lyrilists are really good, of course. And I think that hopefully one day, the ban list will, you know, release their Recital Starling, because I don't think that was
very fair to do to that deck since it just got released. I think they should have hit something Tri-Brigade related and let Lureless go ahead, because they were actually competitive as a pure strategy too when that set was released. And I actually built the deck. It was a really, really good deck. So I was really pissed, like after I paid, $20+ for each one of those bird calls. That's what it is. And I never even got to take it to a tournament before it was banned. So that's the way it goes sometimes. Now it's pretty much unplayable because you need multiple recital starlings. Next, I wanted to look at Marincess Blue Tank Secret Rare from Chaos Impact. This is a card I talked about not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, when I was going over Marincess, because I thought that they would be getting support in this set, and that it would, well, I knew they were getting support in this set, and I thought that maybe the support would be pretty good, and there would be some hype around it. And when I talked about it, these prices were around like $10 for first edition, like 7 or 8 for, maybe even like $6 for, actually, yeah, 6 for unlimited, around $10 for first edition, something like that, because I talked about it in this range. But now lowest for unlimited is 14, which is over double. And then first edition is 16, so up about $6 per copy here. Sakuras, I was selling his. And then it bottoms out here to $21, and there's only 2 pages. If you had these, or if you bought them at that time, I would probably consider just letting these go. Up to you. Because I think this card got a reprint in this set. I'm not 100% on that. Yeah, it is. So if I would sell the secret rares, and if you just want this to play as like a fun budget deck, just get the super rare, or yeah, just get the super rare, because they're 50 cents here, going up to 70. I don't expect these to really go over $1.25. I really don't think they would. But I would say it's time to get rid of your secret rares if you bought them at like $6 to $10. So next is Cyanic Codec. This is played in Code Talkers, and I believe you can also play this in Marincess, kind of depending on what if you're doing like a Code Talker mix. But mainly just like your Code Talkers, I believe. I think there's another field spell that you use for Marincess, actually, but this card's pretty good when it's played in Code Talkers, or like, general, I guess mainly Code Talkers, because even at Industry you wouldn't really play this card. But it's going for around $4.50, and near mint is around $6. This card was really, really cheap for a while. If you look back a year, I mean, I think it was down around $1 or $2 maybe. Yeah, I mean, $1.07 November of last year. And it's just been going up recently quite a bit, and I'm not sure why. I don't know that this would be related to Marincess. But I know that Code Talkers have gotten some rogue tops here and there. But I would keep your eye on this, mainly because it is a promo card. And honestly, Link Evolution was not that well received of a game, so not a lot of people bought them. I know that you can find the physical game for really cheap, like on clearance pretty much at most game stores, because the only reason it had value at the time that I bought it was because it had the valuable microcoder in there, and then this also had some value. But once microcoder got reprinted, it kind of killed the game. People were pretty much buying it for the Code Talker, because you could get the game for around like $30 to $35 at the time, and then you got the $25 card, so you basically get the game for pretty cheap after Proglio and Cyanic Codec included, because they were all $1 or more. So going along with that microcoder, I actually think this ultra rare looks really, really cool. I did sell mine at $25 because I was just like, I'll just get the game for free. This was kind of like right when I was getting back into the game, back in 2019. So I wasn't, I didn't care too much about like collector's things, especially if I wasn't playing it. But I think I'm gonna go back and pick these back up now. I do have a couple of play sets of the super rares, so I got them for like 10 cents each. But these are around $6, which is pretty cheap in my opinion. I do think this card could go back up over time. I don't think it'll be $25 again, unless like it's a topping strategy, but I think it could be 10 or 12 for sure. But we will look at the super rare too to see what it's doing, because I'm interested in like what the first editions are doing. I think at some point, because Toon Chaos was like our first like collector's rare set, I think first edition holos in general, like ultra rares and super rares, will be worth considerably more than just the unlimited.
because it was kind of a hard set to get, during COVID. There wasn't like too much printed. It's around 70 cents. So I did make a little bit of money on those copies there, but nothing too crazy here. Next is Crystal Beacon, and this is kind of a card that's like if you want to get it, you need to get it right now, like today, tonight, because it's basically got 1, 2, 3, 4 copies, because there's 2 here at $5 or below before you're at 7. And there's only 2 pages, and it bottoms out at 10 here, and then going up to 25. But $4 was kind of where it has been at for like the last couple of years, like $2 to $4, kind of bouncing between there. But I think a lot of people are buying them. If you look here today, people are buying quite a few copies here. I mean, look at all these copies sold today. There's someone bought 9 here. So I mean, yeah, this is getting bought out like this second. So if you want these, unfortunately, there's no more near mints for cheap, but you can get a light play. And to be honest with you, a lot of the near mints aren't actually near mint. They're more towards light play, because you do get a little bit of peeling action on the foiling that kind of goes over the front of the card. So I would just get the light play. That's perfectly fine. Probably just get this $3.79 and get these 2 copies. I think that's a pretty fair deal there. Yeah, you're paying 25 cents extra in shipping, but you can spread that over 2 copies. So it's, about the same price as these. That's really all I have to say on this card. I just think if you want to play this deck, or you want this version of this card, I would get it now. And I think you probably flip this short term, like within the next month or so, for decent turnaround there. Probably sell it for, let's see, 10, 11 bucks, maybe $12. Well, actually no, because it's light play, so maybe like 9 to 10. Crystal Bond, maybe even more than 10. You kind of never know, how many people want to play that deck. Crystal Bond, this is a card I talked about when it was $15, 15 to 17. And it was back when we first heard about Crystal Beast structure deck being printed in the OCG. And then we found out we're going to get the structure deck, and we're going to get the Battles of Legend Crystal's Revenge. So I think people are anticipating there to be, a good amount of support for this deck and maybe make it playable. I don't think that it's going to be a meta competitor or anything like that, but I think it could be potentially a fun rogue deck to play. Especially at locals or casually with your friends. But this card's bought out. The only thing left is a $35 near mint play set here. So hopefully you got it. But if you did, consider go ahead and flipping this card and maybe picking up one of the cheaper copies. I think $35 is a pretty good profit if you bought it at 16 or 17. But next, similarly is, I can't say that word. I should never try to say that word. But along the same lines of that, Rainbow Bridge from the same set, Legendary Duelist Ancient Millennium. It's going for $10 here, lowest, and then 15, and then bottoming out towards 16. Also, only 2 pages. And when I talked about it, it was $7, $8 here. No, yeah, like $7. I think, right? I talked about it towards the end of April or May. Yeah, so $7. But if you bought it, after this copy is sold, you doubled your money. So congrats. I don't know how many people actually bought into Crystal Beast, because I did not buy these cards myself. I just wanted to tell you what I thought. I did think it was a good pickup, but I can't be buying everything, But yeah, that's a pretty crazy increase. I'll be interested to see where we go from here. This is one thing I will say about Crystal Beast. The searchability you have is insane, because this says add 1 crystal, spell, or trap from your deck to your hand, except for just these 2, which aren't really that big of a deal. But you can add your Crystal Beacon, your Crystal Bond, and then all of those cards search. It's pretty crazy. The problem is you do a bunch of searching and you just don't really get anywhere with it, which is my critique of the deck. It really just doesn't have a win con, and that's a pretty big issue here. So last is going to be Totally Awesome. Originally, when we saw how good Slight was doing in the OCG, the original print was up towards $68, $70, and the reprint Secret Rare was around $40-ish. And this was up to 15 to 18. There's one cheap copy here before we're back up to $15 to $18 range. But these are selling like crazy. If you have these, I would probably offload the rares and just pick up these, either the you know, the Mega 10 secret rare or the Invasion of Vengeance. You can get these you know, decently cheap light play here for 28. I think if you haven't bought this card yet, that's a perfectly fair price to get it at. I think people might be a little scared because it just got banned in the OCG, but I really am like 95% confident we won't see any hits to this card until the ban list after Power of the Elements. So it'll at least be a couple of months, I would imagine. They're not going to want to attack this deck right away. And I think the only reason they would hit it in the list that comes like right after Power of the Elements is if this deck is like winning 80, or is it, it's like taking up 80% of top cut or something crazy like that, which it could. It definitely could, but I don't think it will. I think it'll probably be similar to the OCG, be around somewhere between like 45 and 55% until tier elements get the rest of their support. But yeah, now's the time to get this card before it goes back up. If you want to play this deck, you know, I could definitely see these secret rares being well above $60-$70, maybe even above, like, I'd say 55 or plus for the Mega 10 and probably above 80 for first edition Invasion of Vengeance, if splites do as well as we think they will. But that's all for the market watch today. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll have another market watch either tomorrow or Thursday. We'll have to see. But thanks, guys. Bye.